anywhere. Because remember, there are no new voters who are going to join the register.
Indeed.
And likely there will be lower turnout compared to last election. So do as much as you can to retain the people who kept you in power last time. What do we see? For those who voted for Kumi last time, I have the figure in my head.
Right.
For those who voted for Kumi last time, 7% of them are now undecided.
Right, we move Biakwaba, Mfabra Mega TV and platform with SO. Musa Danquah of Global Info Analytics. Atono Boase Achechim, wa cracking down things to their core. Now, what him the reason why, and I said the reasons why NDC on the 2nd of September, Akwatia by election, or more candidates, Yera Bernard, the lawyer, no, obey we need that Akwatia seat, you know, obviously for, and some run their two gradie. One kasa obejine to say this is a professionalism and not what I mean a tribal sentiment and I say a partisan post being a wire. What tenasi aya analysis no. Na also and a professor Jumbo on also what na adwin lawyer Martin Pegbu and so actually na adwin e was same way. Men pese me kasa bebre yenko na yenko yeden yenko tie ense no emu enchire mu emfamfiri TV3 the key points Alfred Okanse ni show no so abusia for yenti ense ni bienhwe yakoba ebeto aso.
Just yesterday, and within this period of August 27 and 28th, that's when you conducted this poll. Amount to what, 2,050 respondents. How did you do that? How did you engage them, these respondents?
No, it is face-to-face interviews in the field across all the 21 electoral areas of Akwatia constituency. And we spoke to them randomly in the streets of these localities, and they told us their view.
All 21 electoral areas?
Yes. Usually when we are doing our own kind of polling, we sample a few, but we didn't want to have a room for any error. So we covered everywhere in Akwatia. Everywhere? Yes.
And these electoral areas, we see both NPP and NDC having their own strongholds in there.
Yes.
And this 2,050 respondents was across.
Yes, but the samples were deployed based on the total number of voters who live in each area. So the bigger electoral area, the more sample you get.
And you say the confidence level is 99%?
Absolutely.
That's bold and daring. 99%
confidence level, yes.
So you're saying that with the outcome of this poll, we should believe you 99%?
Absolutely.
Musa Danquah, you're sure about this?
I'm very sure.
And a margin of error of plus 2.7.
Yes.
Plus or minus 2.7.
Yeah.
And this you did face to face.
Face to face.
Engaging them.
Yes.
I see. We'll find out the questions that you ask, because that brings up another conversation altogether in itself. This is the outcome of the first poll. The first poll that was conducted between the 1st and 2nd of August is represented by the red bar in this bar graph. This latest outcome of the poll you did between August 27 and 28 is represented by the black bar in this bar graph. Solomon Asumedu, the NPP candidate, he's a miner. His company, that's Owo Company Limited. And then you have Bernard Bedu, he's a private legal practitioner. He has a very interesting story coming into this election. He was a lawyer to Henry Boche-Yadom, the 2024 candidate. They went into the primaries, the democratic process. He, the lawyer, now won. And guess what? He's also the lawyer for Solomon Asumedu, the NPP candidate.
That's interesting.
So that's the client and the lawyer going into this election. Pretty interesting development. But in the 1st and 2nd August election, that's the survey, you, out of that survey outcome, you said Asumedu was leading by 50% of the respondents saying that if elections were held on that day, they're going to vote for him. But at the time, Bernard Bedu had not been elected.
Absolutely. That's one thing I want to point out. In that scenario, there were 3 candidates. And Kony was there. Then the former MP, Boakye-Adom too, was there. And this person was there. So we ran a scenario of the 3 candidates against Solomon Asumedu. So the responses, I think, did not really have a clear candidate. So that may have affected some of the numbers. But now, almost a month into that decision, we now have a clear view of what the people think.
A clear view of what the people think.
Yes.
So you would consider that August 1, August 2 was not really, a certain clear view of the people.
Correct.
Because Bernard Badu had not been elected at the time.
Correct.
So you pitch all the aspirants of the NDC going into that primaries with Solomon Sumedu, that's Bernard Badu, Ali, and then Henry Yadom.
Yes.
And with that August 1 poll,
He placed second.
Second.
Yes, he was doing 1% worse than the Coney guy. The Coney guy was doing 1% better against Sumedu than Patrick Yadom.
That's Ali Coney.
Yes, I was doing 1% better than Badu.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now we are seeing something different.
Yeah, and a lot of things have come to play. In fact, I've been putting my head into the data since last night, and I think I have a lot more answers today than I had yesterday.
You have a lot more answers to this.
Than yesterday.
That now you're saying that Solomon Sumedu, the NPP candidate, going into this election, based on your respondents, they say, if elections were held within this, just few days to this September 2 by-election, August 27, August 28, 47% of them say that they would vote for him.
Yes.
And now we're seeing a 6% stretch for Bernard Badu, the NDC candidate, 53%.
Yes.
What exactly happened?
Look, a lot has happened since then. One, after electing Bernard Badu, they can now compare him directly with the NPP's candidate to see the caliber of candidate that they have. So the nature of the candidates and their personal appeal now became very clear. And two, you have a situation where we have seen from the data the people of Akwatia are not seeing this candidate in equal measure as they are seeing the NDC candidate, in the sense that the poll suggests about 24% overall of people who voted for Ernest Kumi in 2024 elections have switched their vote to Bernard Badu.
24% of those who voted for the NPP's, the late Ernest Kumi,
yes,
have switched their vote to the NDC candidate Bernard Badu.
Correct.
How do you explain that?
Look, if you look at, we asked people who did they vote for in the last election, and those who said Ernest Kumi and those who said Yadom, we analyzed who they are voting for now.
Right.
And we saw from that data that 7% of them said they are undecided, 69% are voting for MPP's candidate, but 24% have switched camp from Ernest Kumi to Badu. Now, when we dig further to see what is the educational background of these people who are switching their votes or who are voting, we realize that a chunk of the voting switch had come from people with senior high and tertiary level qualifications.
The senior high school student population there.
Those who have senior high
education.
Qualification.
And then the tertiary.
Yes.
Why is that? Did you drill down a bit further?
I think I can only conclude that they see Badu as better candidate to replace Ernest Kumi than Solomon Sumedu.
It's a minor we are talking about. Akwatia.
And it's a lawyer. So they would prefer a lawyer to replace a lawyer.
I see. So, yes, I mean, Ernest Kumi was on his way to be
a lawyer, yes.
But you have a minor as well. This dynamics as well is crucial because Akwatia is a mining town.
Let me tell you the mining issue in Akwatia.
A small scale miner.
About 8% of the issues that would influence vote is mining. 8%.
8%.
Out of 100%.
The mining component?
Yes.
8%.
8%.
So then it brings up the conversation about Galamsey and so on, the crackdown on illegal mining. How is this going to hurt now Bernard Badu?
Galamsey is a double-edged sword. There are those who oppose the crackdown for their living and working conditions, purposes. And there are those who support the crackdown because it's damaging their environment. Now, if you look at the data from those who said Galamsey is a top issue for them, MPP Solomon is leading 48% among those people who say Galamsey is a top issue.
Right.
And then NDC Bernard Bedu is on 47%. So no advantage on Galamsey matters in Akwatia.
Really?
Yes.
Even though
absolutely
this is a mining town.
Yes.
No, we need to establish that. And there's another issue as well that comes to play. Just to bear in mind that they are not the only two candidates going into this election. There is the LPG's candidate as well.
Nearly 0%.
He's doing what?
Nearly 0%.
Nearly 0%.
Yes.
That's point something.
0.3 something.
0.3 something. But the factors that you say with greater influence on voters, we'll get to that. But I want us to, when you look at the factors that you say would influence the decision
of
that
the voters, yes.
Development projects.
Number one.
That's the biggest consideration factor.
42% of the people said development projects.
Say they want to see development.
Yes.
And but then that plays to the advantage of the incumbent candidates. You know, it goes without saying. So
yeah, that's why NDC is running that campaign, that strategy in the constituency.
That
our man can bring you development, and this guy cannot.
But then there was development in motion, no? When NSC are coming within this period, also
you see
led the constituency.
The belief is that if your sitting MP is from the ruling party, it will be easier for him to knock doors, get the doors open, than the opposition MP.
Development, essentially.
Yeah, but we want to make it like the cost of living kind of thing. Those feeling is what we call the economy. The bigger one is the bigger economy.
Education.
Yeah.
Came in closely, 3.
Yes.
13% of them. And that goes back to the point you made about the breakdown of the education level of the respondents as well. How did that feed into this?
I think these are people who want to see free education and other educational issues resolved in the constituency. So for them, it's about improving the quality of education in the constituency.
I see. Now, jobs, 10%, because you find a number, they are all employed in one way or the other with mining being predominant there.
Surprisingly, not surprisingly, about 28% of people we sampled have senior high qualification, and about 28% have tertiary level qualification. So you don't expect all these guys to be in mining. Most of the mining guys are either from the junior high qualifications and then no education. So the guys in the senior high and tertiary are looking for different kind of jobs rather than being in the pit.
Being in the pit.
Yes.
I see. And that's why I say Galamsey did not really rank high, even though it's predominant in that particular constituency, Akwatia.
Correct.
Galamsey is the what? The fifth
on the radar.
On the radar when it comes to the factors that will influence at 8%. That's interesting to say the least.
Yeah,
and the population there is huge. Galamsey population.
No, but you see, if you look at the data, the issue of Galamsey doesn't cut across everywhere in the same kind of priority. In Akwatia area, it's a lot higher than in other parts of the constituency. So it depends on where you are. If the area is very pro-mining area, then Galamsey becomes a bigger issue. Or if that area is suffering from environmental catastrophe because of mining, then becomes another bigger issue. So it's not like a same percentage across everywhere. It differs depending on the electoral area that you are in.
Then there is voting for my party. What does that mean?
People who, regardless of whoever you put as a candidate, a party name, I'll vote for that person. So they are just 4%. They are voting not because of anything, because that is the candidate the party has presented.
That's they are looking at the party colors.
Party colors, yes.
NPP and DC.
Yes.
And that's it.
And you see how small that number is.
Yes, and talking about small allocation in terms of the factors, I see sympathy votes. 4%. You're saying that those who, based on the death of NSC Alkume, they will be influenced by the sympathy of that incident to vote for the party that lost its candidates, that's the NPP, is just 4%?
4%.
But that's
a paltry figure. It won't take you anywhere.
Why? What happened?
Well, you see, voters have become different. From the days of Gerald Rawlings to the present day Gen Zs, right? About 75% of Ghanaian voters are below the age of 35 years. These guys are emotionless. They are less emotional. So you are looking at the demography of people who are really different from what we used to know in the olden days. That's where sympathy was probably much higher. These days, these guys care about their development, their economy, education, jobs, and nothing more when it comes to sympathy and other things.
But I'm wondering how you were able to get them to put this, respond to this, because sympathy is emotional, as you indicated. How do you measure emotional, the commitment or feeling? Because it cannot be quantitatively measured.
No, this is a simple count.
Okay.
How many people cite sympathy as the reason they will use to vote? And that count was only 4% of the total number we interviewed. So if you take the 2050, 4% is about what? Maybe 80 people out of the 2050 mentioning sympathy.
You see, and if you look at the outcome or the turnout of the funeral, or the funeral yesterday, and, a very large number.
Funeral is organized,
and all of them, you could say.
Remember, we're talking about Akwatia constituency, which is bigger than Wenchi. Wenchi is an electoral area within Akwatia,
yes,
though the largest. It doesn't account for everybody in Akwatia. So the number you saw there were mourners, family and friends. They're not entirely people who are going to vote for Kumi, NPP or NDC. There are very those people who have come from far and near.
So you're saying that this sympathy that you saw, if you're listening to the likes of the minority leader, Alexander Penyoma, and the commentary yesterday at the funeral, leveraging on this factor, that, look, there's a lot happening in Parliament. This loss, they have to then play to the advantage of the minority or the NPP.
The data is saying no. They can decide to dwell on it and make it the campaign theme. That's fine. But as to what impact to have, on Tuesday we'll see.
Tuesday is just some 3 days away from there. And this is it.
Yes.
This.
And this is where the story is told. Among those who said development project would be their key factor, number one influencer, 51% of those people intend to vote for Bernard Baidu of NDC.
51%.
32% of those people say they will vote for Solomon Asumedu. 17% of them are undecided. These undecided in this category, they will likely break away in favor of Asumedu.
But that 17% can actually influence the outcome of this, is it not?
But they won't turn the race on its head.
Because so you're saying that it cannot be the case that the 17%, all of them would vote for the NPP
Most
candidate.
of them will go to NDC candidates.
Why?
Because we have seen the pattern of people who say they are undecided and how they break in an election. We know where we are in the race. If they are undecided, we know how they will break. And we've come to realize that, seen from the data that we published yesterday, that most of the people who are undecided are floating voters.
I see.
And floating voters in this current dispensation do not break the way of the opposition.
They break the way of what?
The ruling government.
But the economy as well, you see, you have a 13% population of your sample size that said they are undecided.
Yes.
But then you have, for the economy, you had 44% NPP.
And 42 NDC, and 13 undecided.
For the economy.
For the economy. Remember, 15% of the sample mentioned economy as important issue. So it's a subset of the big set.
Right.
And that number equally is smaller. So this figure is much bigger in terms of numbers than these figures.
No, but so why did you have 44% saying that if on the matter of the economy, they will rate the NPP higher than the NDC?
No, it is not rating.
Okay.
Those who have mentioned economy and which candidate they want to vote for. So we can consider to be that, okay, for those who want economy as a number one issue, more of them are saying that they vote for NPP candidate. Because you see, this relates to the question of the rest of the country in the constituency. If you compare to the last poll, the people who say that the country has improved, its right direction has dropped.
I see.
And that will reflect this kind of movement you are seeing here.
I see. So that question about what is their view of the direction of the country, in the first poll, you had about 47 to 48% saying that the country is going in the right direction.
Now it's declined.
Now is those who say the country is heading in the right direction has declined. From the 48% down.
Yes.
To how much?
To I think 41 or there. I think 41 or 44. I'm not quite sure about the number, but it's somewhere in the report. So, but there's about 3% decline in that number.
I see.
And that decline may reflect how they feel about the economy in this constituency. And that means that it will be a negative, small negative to this NDC candidate. And that's why he's trailing by 2 percentage points on the economy issue.
But then if you draw down the data, and I understand why you say the sympathy, yes, is going to, the NPP would benefit from the sympathy. Because 72%, that's out of the 4 that we saw, but it's going to be one that they can and will leverage.
Of the 4%.
For those who say it's just my party I'm going to vote for,
look at it, 85%. So NPP people are more likely to vote for their candidate regardless.
But the other factors that you talk about, what are those?
Now, if you look at Galamsey, those who mention Galamsey as important to them, 47% intend to vote for NDC's candidate, 48 NPP candidates. So it's a tie here among Galamsey. So I mentioned that there are those who are against Galamsey and there are those who are pro-Galamsey. So the whole place is divided.
But if there's a crackdown on Galamsey across the country, you would think that the miners will be upset, because we saw Galamsey influence the defeat of certain persons in certain constituencies in the 2020 elections. So is that to say that the fight against Galamsey is not being won here?
Not everybody is a miner in Akwatia. So look at the demography of the constituency. If you have a lot more people who have lower level qualification or no qualification, these are the people who find themselves in the mining pit.
Right.
So in Akwatia, they have a highly educated population, tertiary and senior high. They don't go to the pits unless it becomes absolutely necessary. So they will look for different jobs. So they will not necessarily be backing Galamsey.
I see. Now, well, there's a lot to chew on. So Asimedu versus Beidou.
Yes.
That's
electoral areas.
You are pitching head to head.
Head to head.
NPP, NDC, and this is it. Explain to me what we are saying.
We look at the top 10 electoral areas in Akwatia constituency. They account for most of the votes in Akwatia. Now, the first one I look at is Wenchi.
Right.
That's where Kumi comes from. Kumi comes from Wenchi. At the moment, the MPP's candidate is on 49%, NDC 41%. Then you have what number saying about 11% say they are undecided. In the previous poll that we did, Asimedu in Wenchi was on 77%. 77%. Fast forward to today, he's dropped to 49%.
And this new Wenchi is a crucial...
It is a must-win big for MPP.
It is the biggest.
It's the biggest
electoral area. In terms of voter population.
Absolutely. If MDC gets 41% in Wenchi, I think the game will be over.
They are good to go. Wow. And that's a big issue.
Yes.
You see?
They must not allow NDC to cross even 30% in Wenchi.
Wow.
If they get 40% as they are showing in the poll here in Wenchi, the game is over.
That's a new Wenchi.
It's the biggest, the largest, the World Bank. It's like the Domi Kwabinya of Accra. Or say Taifa in Domi Kwabinya. Well, Taifa North and Taifa South accounts for about 45% of MPP's winning margin in the Domi Kwabinya area. So if that place falls, that's it.
That's it. But then we are seeing as well in Okumaning 55%. That's well, it goes without saying.
Let's look at a certain pattern.
Yes.
In the areas where NDC wins, sometimes the win is quite big. Look here in Kwame Kuma, NDC 60%. In Takrasi, NPP 69%. In Budia West, NDC 70%. The highest number of MPP win is in what? Saddam's 60%, which is smaller area than the rest.
In terms of voter population.
And then the next is what? My hometown, Apinaman, 58%.
You see your hometown, that's where you come from?
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, wow. Let's conclude this because my guests are already seated. How Ernest Kumi and Akwatia don't vote intend to vote?
This is where the story ends.
Tell me.
Look, to win a rerun in a place you won by 2,000 votes, you must do whatever you do to retain your old voters.
Sure.
They shouldn't go anywhere. Because remember, there are no new voters who are going to join the register.
Indeed.
And likely there will be lower turnout compared to the last election. So do as much as you can to retain the people who kept you in power last time. What do we see? For those who voted for Kumi last time, you think after that, okay? Okay, let me go. I have the figures in my head.
Right.
For those who voted for Kumi last time, 7% of them are now undecided. They can't tell whether they want to vote for Asumedu or Bedu. And these are people who voted for Kumi in the last election.
I see.
Now they are sitting on the fence.
They're undecided.
They're undecided.
Would have to vote for NPP or the
NDC. Only 69% of Kumi's supporters or voters are voting for Solomon. Now they've pledged the vote to Solomon. Pledged.
I see. And so the remaining
24% here, the black in the black box. The 24% of the remaining have gone to join Bedu.
That's the NDC candidate.
NDC candidate.
I see. But what accounted for this shift of this chunk of 24%?
Remember I mentioned about the quality of the candidate. They don't believe that Solomon should be the one to replace their MP. And this very was coming from people with secondary qualification and tertiary. Remember? We broke this down. Among these 24% that you are seeing,
right,
most of them are tertiary people and senior high qualification holders in Akwatia.
So the matter of the educational level
is very important
of
here.
Those two.
It's plain.
Because you are putting a minor against a lawyer.
A lawyer.
And a mining town will prefer a lawyer to a minor?
Because the previous MP was a lawyer or up and coming lawyer.
I see. But that is explained in the next slide. So we'll do this quickly.
Yeah.
This is it.
Look,
let's see
among people who are voting for each of the candidates, high qualification, NPP, NDC is getting 39% of them. And MPP is getting 44% of them. But those with senior high, 48% are voting for NDC candidate, whereas 38% are voting for MPP's candidate. Those with tertiary level qualification, 53% are opting for NDC's candidate, and 39% are opting for MPP's candidate. Among those without education, it is tied. MPP 49%, NDC 48%. So who are those propelling NDC to win? It is senior high graduates and tertiary level graduates, tertiary level voters. So these are the people who are causing MPP headache in Akwatia.
This tertiary group?
Yes, tertiary group and then senior high school holders.
But these are people who benefited from free senior high school.
This is not senior high election. This is local elections.
I see. But is there a possibility that this outcome you have put a 99% confidence in would flip?
Look, I'm even getting more worried for MPP this morning.
You're getting more worried for MPP?
Yes, this morning.
Why? Because
look, I've just looked at the data this morning. Where MPP is leading right now with 50, where they are leading, I compare what they got or how they voted in the last election to what they are doing now. Currently,
right.
But the same areas they voted for Ernest Kumi 67%.
67%?
Yes. So Ernest Kumi's numbers have dropped compared to Solomon numbers has dropped by 9%. In the same areas Kumi outperformed.
Wow.
And then in the areas where NDC is leading, and that's the danger of it. Where NDC is leading, in the last election, Kumi actually won in those areas.
He won?
Yes. And now NDC is up by almost 36%. In areas they lost by 3%.
I see that is the 2024 election.
Yes. That's why I am saying that it could be much more worse than the headline numbers suggest. Because where could be won by 3%, MPP is losing by 36% right now. So MDC is at performing their polling numbers compared to 2024 elections. MPP is underperforming.
And these factors are as a result of what we saw previously.
Yes.
You know, we counted 32 by-elections since 1992 in the Fourth Republic. Just about 8 of them has been as a result of the death of candidates. And we've seen the voting pattern in all 8 circumstances when a by-election has been occasioned by the death of a candidate. Sympathy plays a key role. In fact, some of them, they put their wives of the candidates who died there and they won. And you are saying that 4% was what will account for sympathy in this one.
You see, people have won elections. There was no exit poll to find out whether they voted based on sympathy. We assume. And that's the danger we have in this country. There's no single data to say that maybe candidate A won because of sympathy or B won for sympathy reasons. If you look at what happened in Ejusu, somebody died. What was the sympathy effect there? It was very close.
Indeed.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's just a lack of data. Makes us to make a lot of assumptions, wild ones. And we can prove them.
Let me acknowledge the presence of Professor Al-Hassan Sulemana Anamzoya. He's an associate professor of sociology at the University of Ghana. In fact, he's the head of the sociology department.
No, I have handed over.
You've handed over now.
To one. I was done.
I think 2 months ago, I had to go. You were the head.
Yes, July 31, just last month.
Okay. So just 3 weeks ago, you handed over. Yes. So you are no more the head the head of the sociology department.
Immediate past head.
Immediate past head. Prof, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
This is your first time here, and we do acknowledge your presence indeed. Thank you. Thank you so much for making the time to be here. And also joining us, Kofi Bento is a private legal practitioner and vice president of policy think tank Imani Africa. Mr. Bento, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning to you as well. And Professor Ransford Jampo is a professor of political science, the CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority. Prof, good morning. Welcome.
Morning. A few comments. Just coming from France in cocoa freight negotiation. We succeeded in negotiating cocoa freight for the 2025-2026 cocoa season.
Right.
And we were able to do so, pin down the shipping lines to ensure that they maintained the freights. They came with increases of their charges, but we said that will not advance President Mahama's vision of helping to reduce bring down the cost of doing business. And so we were able to pin them down to ensure that they kept the freights where they have been. And I'm excited to announce this to the good people of Ghana.
Perfect.
That this was successfully done. But let me also make the point that Anamzoya is a very good friend of mine. He is the one. I mean, those days when I used to write, and I'll give it to Anamzoya. Please proofread. And then he will be critical, he will give critical comments. Me and him, we start. In fact, my first journal article that was published and gained a lot of traction in Google Scholar was, I think, how to, ministerial appointment and government expenditure in Ghana's for public, and it was a co-authored paper.
Big government.
Big government. Yeah, so from big government. It was a co-authored paper between me and him. So we've come a long way. When we started our academic life, we didn't know, we didn't see our way clear. It was very difficult. You write a journal article for review and somebody will come and write nonsense on the paper. And we had to sit, weep, cry, and and all that. So he's associate professor, I'm professor, and it is exciting to share this platform with him. And I am proud to let people know that he was my helper as I tried to climb higher that ladder of academic progression.
It's very
Anamzoya, good to see you here.
Papa Jampo, thank you.
It's wonderful. I mean, yes, gratitude is key. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, and Martin Pebo is joining us as well. He's the private legal practitioner, the convener of the Kumi Preko Reloaded demonstration. Martin Pebo, good morning. Welcome.
Morning, Mr. Kansi. Morning. It's good to be here. Yeah, Ghana's #1 talk show, right? Yeah, unparalleled, undisputed, right? I hope we stay there forever. Yeah, so once again,
once we've been able to attract Kofi Benso here, I mean, we are good.
My personal lawyer, regime,
no,
and they are hot DNI. When they saw Kofi, they said that, hey,
so you are a lawyer too then. So Kofi Benso is Martin Pebo's lawyer.
And Martin is my lawyer.
And Martin is
no,
But what in bidding is that?
incestuous lawyer.
if you catch him, I'll come after you.
Okay, so briefly, let me greet the people, the rituals. Of course, the first greetings go to the people of Ghana. It's exciting. Every morning when I wake up, I know that place where I disagree with Kofi, but our candidate won. It's exciting now. Ghanaians, we've done a good job at sacking Kofi and his people, right?
I wasn't sacked.
We are working. You say support Baumia, right?
Yes, but I'm fine with you clearing those people.
Okay, good. No, because the mess, the sleaze was just...
I don't have a problem with that.
Very good. The sleaze was just too much. And when you wake up, if there's no money in your pocket, you feel like at least some decency is being restored in our society. The bleeding is stopped. I mean, the guys were just taking everything left, right, center, and were left helpless. Ghanaian men will not get up and fight. Okay, of course, you waited and then you did the needful at the polls. So we are thankful, we are very grateful, and we hope that the new government will stay the course straight and narrow. Otherwise, of course, they know that what befell the NPP can befall them too. Okay, yeah, so Chief Justice Yasantua Sofo-Ekufu, good morning. More fire, the woman who stood up against her own relation. Yasantua didn't say that because Ekufuado had made her Chief Justice, when Ekufuado was misgoverning, she would keep quiet. So that's a stellar example that I would continue, trumpeting here, so that a lot of us would learn to be objective. Let's not concentrate on our stomachs. Because if we're concentrating on our stomachs, at least I sat here and bashed about me and Ekufuado, I would have gone to also lobby for a position. I wouldn't have been here. So please, let's do something. We can't always concentrate on the stomach. If you concentrate on the stomach, look, the nation would what? Collapse. And if it does, all of us will what? Collapse, right? Yeah, so, and Domahini, I say Adeyo Ajimambedu the second, good morning. Kentucky Teku the second, good morning. The man leading the charges to recover our money from Cecilia Dapa. Oh, and yesterday I met Ni Usu, for the first time. Ni Note Nochi, Ni Usu. I didn't know he's a lawyer too. There was this Swiss National Day. The Swiss ambassador invited us, Simon Gaga, right? Yeah, so we're there. And a lot of chiefs, Nia Hunter, Professor Jampo, your friend, the one who comments about your flask.
Okay.
Nana Hunter. Yeah, Nana Hunter. Yeah, he says hi. Yeah, it was a lovely ceremony.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. But then we've gone through this data. I've started with you, Professor, and I'm sorry for good reason. Because this is a bold claim, which is data-driven, by the way, by Musa Danquah, that even though his first poll put the NPP candidate Solomon Asumedu ahead of Bernard Bedo at the time he had not been elected, now this last poll conducted between August 27 August 28 puts the NDC candidate in the lead going into this by-election on Tuesday. 53% as against Asumedu NPP 47%. He says the confidence level is 99%. What's your confidence in this?
So thank you so much, and good morning to the listeners. I came a bit earlier and I had a chance to listen to my brother. And I think that, like with many by-elections, influence. So you may say that, yes, the NDC person would win because of all of these variables. But I also want to believe that incumbency plays a very important role in by-elections. When I saw your figure on development projects, I was asking myself, do Ghanaians vote on development projects? And if yes, then it means that either the figure that is a bit too much, or because the respondents have the view that when they vote for Mr. Bedu of NDC, then the incumbent government will continue the developmental projects that have been started there. So it might not be that voters vote because of your developmental project, but because they believe that when they vote for you as a candidate for the incumbent government, that government will then continue your developmental projects. Otherwise, I think many would think that, okay, so we have developmental projects, we have roads being constructed, but how about the economy? Which in your case is just 50%. If you put all together, you get about 48% against 42%, which is only on developmental projects. And that's like almost equal. But economy, education, jobs, Galamsey, voting for my party, Sympathy votes, all accounting for almost the same percentage as that of
Absolutely.
So I believe that the developmental projects are based on the fact that the incumbent would come back to continue those projects. That's my...
I see. It's an interesting point you made, because the candidature of the two parties also came to play, based on what Mr. Danquah indicated, that even though this is a mining town, most of the respondents who have secondary and tertiary education there tilted towards the lawyer as against the miner, even though this is a mining town. But you're saying that a lot of these people are basing their decision not so much on the candidature, but a lot more about who will bring them development?
Yes, that's why I want to make the point clear that it's not about who will bring development, it's about whose government is in power. I mean, even if you are a lawyer and you're in a position, it could flip.
Right.
Even the Sympathy votes that we discussed a few minutes ago with my brother, if the person standing were to be the spouse of the deceased, that could have been also been a bit different figure that we are seeing here.
So the sympathy would go...
It would have gone higher. Yes, we've seen instances where somebody has died and the party would fill the person's spouse.
Yes.
In that case, you have more people filling for both the deceased and the spouse. But so the person matters. Circumstances also matter in terms of voters' idea of who to vote for, or otherwise. Yeah.
Well, we saw that circumstance play out in a number of ways in the central region, and even I also was well gone as well. You know, when you put the spouse of the deceased MP there, the NPP decided to take a different approach this time, because in previous instances or in the immediate past, they've had the spouses of the deceased MPs now contesting, and that played to their advantage. You think they should have gone on that same path?
I have no idea who the spouse is, and I don't know how much consultations were done between the party and the deceased family. But if in the past we have benefited from such arrangement, where when we fielded the deceased spouse, we got the necessary votes. I think by such examples, NPP should have also considered the spouse of the deceased MP. As I mentioned, I have no idea how much was done in terms of consultations between the party, NPP, that's my party, and that of the deceased family. If that was done, perhaps the party in its own wisdom has found it necessary not to field the spouse of the deceased MP. And then therefore coming out with a minor, and that also has its own implications, because Ghanaians today, whether they are educated, uneducated, are not very happy with Galamsey.
Sure.
So perhaps to bring in a minor with the idea that it's a mining town would creep up the votes would also be a bit problematic.
Is that we want to make a point?
No, I'm fine.
Perfect. Now, Mr. Wanto, based on the point, in fact, Prophet Namzaya has brought some other dimension to the conversation as well. Looking at the candidature of the two political parties, you have now, as I referenced, the history of the NPP MPs who died and the approach that the NPP took in the immediate past, which has worked for them, at least based on the results that we saw until 2024, when I also were gone. You know, they lost that, and as well as what happened as well in the central region. he says, Professor Namdoya says that based on that history of success for the party, fielding the spouses of the deceased MPs, they should have gone on the same path. But the party also weighed another advantage that they thought could work for them. They put a miner there because this is a mining town. But Musa Danquah is saying that the factor of the mining is not going to play a major role in there because the dynamics are different now. You have an educated population in there that is tilting towards a lawyer. Mr. Bento.
I think he's right that there would have been a bigger sympathy vote if they had put the spouse of the previous MP there. History has shown us that. But that's a very bad approach to things. I mean, and I always say that
Bad consideration.
those who sit in university classrooms and we who are in think tanks, we have the luxury of not being on the ground to do the real politics. Politically speaking, it would have been better for them. But in this case, it wouldn't have helped them.
Right.
The dynamics are very different. I do believe if they had put the spouse there, they would have still lost. I do believe.
Really?
And yeah, I would defer to Musa and Co because those of us who deal with data and things, it's not easy to find this information and come and speak to it like this. You sleep in the bush and everything. So when I see data which you can tell was properly collated and etc., I respect it. But I agree also because you had a previous election. It wasn't clear who was going to win, even though the indications were there. That dynamic is different than now. When you have an incumbent, do not ever underestimate the power of incumbency. And that's what is driving this election.
Right.
You have an incumbent who is still in his honeymoon. And by every measure, President Mahama has done a very good job holding this country together. Okay. And so he is still enjoying that honeymoon. Then you have a situation where if you say I believe mining matters.
You believe mining matters?
Oh, I do. But they've done some things with mining. Look, as we speak, the task force has been disbanded.
The task force going around
the mining task force, yes,
on Galamsey,
yes,
has been disbanded.
Check the news. I saw the news across. They've, there was some, even a clip going around. But there's been an announcement. It's been a number of things have been done in mining. Yesterday, I saw a letter that said that they were moving to repeal 24-26 or so. Yes. A number of moves are happening in mining now. It doesn't look like it is a big issue here, but it is. All right. But look, what is driving this mainly is the fact that you have an incumbent who is popular and still enjoying their honeymoon. And two, when you live in a village with only one car,
thank you,
and you need to travel to town, and the driver asks you for a favor, you put aside everything and give that driver, what they are looking for. What I mean is, development projects in Ghana are a big issue when it comes to elections. And the one who seems like they can deliver that will get it. In other places, in America, for instance, they'll tell you, is the economy stupid? Period.
That's right.
In Ghana, the economy is more like development projects. People don't care about inflation and GDP as much as they care about their roads and schools and KVIPs and all those other things. So, as far as I'm concerned, I totally agree with what's going on here. As for predictions and analysis and things, little things can happen. But Musa has, paid his dues, and we think that you can look at this. However, question is, what would this change in Parliament?
Well, that's going to be the layer of the conversation. That's
something that should be looked at. So, in short, what I'll say is that, look, if I were NPP, I would take a back seat, do my best about this thing, but let it be.
Let it be?
Yeah, let it be.
They should just accept that they're going to lose this.
Well, what are you going to do? Okay, look, one of the things I am happy about in this country is that we can go to elections, fight it hard. You lose, like Baumia did. You come up and you say, we did our best, it didn't work, we move on, we, prepare for another day. So what I'm saying is that, but for the fact that it is Musa, we can put all kinds of doubts on it. But for all the other things that I've also spoken about, what I'm saying is that the indications are not that positive. But the important question for a party like NPP and for the nation, for me looking, I'm like, what difference does this make in Parliament? All right? for NPP, what difference does it make to you in terms of your politics and calculations and going forward? Trust me, on a scale of importance in NPP, this is like 1%. Why? One extra seat in parliament won't make much of a difference.
True.
What they have to focus on is what is going on now, the election towards their flag bearership.
The flag bearership.
All right. So put everything together, and I understand the politicals and all that they will say, but at the end of the day, okay, let this be.
See, we talk about how the dynamics will not change in Parliament. The NDC still has the numbers to do whatever they want to do. Right? You know, even if the MPP wins, assuming it's just going to be an additional one moving up to 89,
inconsequential,
which would be really, for the lack of better expression, irrelevant to the workings of Parliament.
Absolutely.
Essentially. But then there's a fight in there as well in the constituency.
An unnecessary fight.
You think the battle for Akwatia is an unnecessary one?
See, Akwatia has a certain character. Like you say, Akwatia is like a split place.
True.
Okay, so it can go anyway.
Absolutely.
Today it goes NDC, tomorrow it will go NPP. So yes, there's a fight, but in all strategy, you have to weigh, okay, the potential significance of a particular battle. If you see a rope, a big ball of rope, there's one that if you pull, everything will unravel. There are others that if you pull, they will even tighten. And that's the kind of calculations that politicians make. So question is, it is a fight. But what is the significance of this fight? In the present scheme of things, like I said, you have a president who, by every measure, is doing a good job. Yes, it is in the first year out of 4. But he's ticking all the good boxes. You have a situation where in Akwatia, they are looking for certain things that the opposition can't give them. And at the end of the day, this is the only game in town. It is the person who will give you the development that you are going to look out and then, favor. So it is a fight, but in terms of significance of this fight, it is not the kind of fight that you have to, this is not a hill you die on. I think that they should do their best, but they should focus on the election coming for their flag bearership. That's the one that can kill them or make them strong.
No, yes. For example, all politics is local, and indeed, that is what you see underlining all the points that Mr. Bento made just a few minutes ago about these factors we are seeing, corroborated as well by Professor Namzoya. But then again, that element of who is representing the political party. Mr. Danquah, you say that, so if the NPP had put up any other candidate apart from this minor, would things have changed based on the engagements that you had with the respondents?
I don't want to speculate because I don't know who else they would have put on the ticket. That is why the political parties, before they come up with an announcement who they are nominating, they should have done an internal poll of their options against the possible options and see who's stronger.
Right.
But if they have done that properly, I don't think this was the best they had.
Really?
Or this is the best they had. Because there are people there. Kate Jemfo is there. I don't know whether he is physically strong to contest. But I believe Kate Jemfo would have been a much more formidable figure. Because she has a national appeal. That can rub off locally as well.
The women's organizer?
Yeah.
Kate Jemfo?
Yes. This one that constituency.
For example? Yes.
Well, I commend the nation's poster. I made now you are the nation's poster. When you pulled the 2024 elections and you give a certain margin to President Mahama and to Dr. Bawumia, they were referring to you as a Lutu forecaster. But recently you have polled and said that should elections be held within the NPP today, Bawumia would win. Those who tagged you as a Lutu forecaster, I don't know what they are now saying about you. And I like your spirit, and I want a lot of Ghanaians to emulate some of these things. That you see, let us be Ghanaians and let us be courageous, and let us appreciate that in our quest to speak our mind and to do what is right. You have people coming at you to say all manner of nasty things. But like me, I don't care about what people say. I care about my own thoughts and what I want to put across. And so I commend you and I urge you to be resilient and go ahead to do whatever you think you want to do to help Mother Ghana. Once you are driven by data and you have empirical basis for making those projections, let people call you. Now, the NPP in my mind, okay, I would want to, I don't know whether they will listen. It appears that they still are not appreciating the enormity of task they have to sit back and just reorganize. They are not doing that. They are still dazed. And so they are doing things haphazardly. I mean, like he said, this is not an election that truly you want to stress yourself so much. Especially, initially my view was that, oh, then the NDC should just let it go.
Yes.
But later, I have changed my mind because all the party says we would fight for everything. I said, okay, but they should sit down and rather than trying to throw mud about the government, appreciate what the government is doing and see how they can reorganize to have a certain message that prepares them to make them to clean all the debts around them and position them for future elections. What they are doing is behaving like ostriches. They are not, when things are going the right way, so things are not going the right way. And as if we all don't experience, we don't go to the market, we don't appreciate what is going on. We all see. So if things are being done right, and Ghanaians can feel, and then you alone, you say, well, things are not being done right, and then you give your own negative verdict, you continue to showcase yourself to the people that you have not repented, and you have not done a roundabout U-turn, about your own attitude that you projected in the lead up to the elections that delivered that heavy blow to you. And so I would urge that, look, they should really sit down and reflect and change so many of the things that they did wrong. I mean, I saw the funeral that they attended. They brought President Akufo-Addo to lead them. When we were mourning, President Akufo-Addo, I think he couldn't join. I'm sure he was not in town during the tragic. Was he there?
I don't know that, but
was he there?
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't. Okay,
yeah.
But maybe.
So then he had to come.
Okay, so let's say that he was not there, but this one he was there. He led people to the funeral
yes,
of this departed MP. And I thought that, you see, the party still has not come to grasp with some of the monumental factors that led to their monumental defeat in the 2024 elections. If they don't know, I am still telling them that President Akufo-Addo was one key factor who led to their defeat. And so in going to that funeral, asking him to lead that delegation, for me, it's a way of telling Ghanaians that we still have not even learned. He is a retired president. Right. Let him retire. Let him rest. Let him take it easy. Try to look for a candidate who will be able to take over from him. And then don't bring the quote and unquote politically bad omen that people voted against President Akufo-Addo and not President and not Vice President Bawumia in the 2024 elections. And so I'm expecting the party to do all they can to dissociate themselves a little from them and rebuild themselves, and then let him be the elderly statesman to help behind the scenes, but to let him lead frontally, it would hurt them. And let me say, I commend the people of Akwatia. The factors that have been articulated as being the key issues that are likely to dominate or to shape their preference, for me, points to them as now rational voters. There are four main, Andrew Haywood identified four main models of voting. We have the rational choice model, you have the sociological model, you have the ideological model, and then you have the party identification model. Now, so you look at the various factors that have been articulated, and then they are talking about the need for development, they're talking about the economy, they're talking about education, they're talking about jobs, they're talking about illegal mining. Now, these are rational issues that if they are made to shape voter attitude or voter choice, then he said that, look, Ghana is making giant strides. They have downplayed sympathy, they have downplayed party identification. Okay, gone were the days where a political party can fail just anybody, and because it's that political party, the person would win. But if I look at the factors here, I see that they have downplayed party identification, they have downplayed sympathy. And so the idea that, oh, maybe we should have gone to look for the wife of the deceased to come and contest, I think it's an idea, it's something that used to happen, but I think we should depart from that, because I agree with him. We should to encourage, because you're infielding a candidate, we should be rational. I mean, even if the person doesn't, the spouse hasn't got what it takes to serve his people, you simply want to say that because he's a spouse, he should be brought on. And one day I argued that if you don't take care the way we're going, that tangent on which we're proceeding, you don't take care very soon. If wives have problems with their husband, you just poison them, and then knowing that you'll be made the next parliamentary candidate. And so I think that to the extent that the factors show that the voters are being very rational, I want to salute and commend them. And also want to make the point, as Kofi made, that look, if NPP wins this seat, it will not do anything much to their numbers. If NDC wins, NPP's predicament in Parliament will remain the same. And so rather than focusing so much on this election, let them focus on how they will rebuild themselves. The current executives leading the party, they are part of the problem. And unfortunately, they are being allowed to shepherd whatever rebuilding process that they have in a manner that perpetuates their own interests. And I'm telling them that unless the NPP undertake a very drastic rebuilding process, it would be difficult for them. Their chances in future elections will still remain bleak. And so it is important that they are made to know some of these things. I'm a Democrat. I believe in multipartyism. And so you need a credible opposition that is well prepared, not an opposition that suffers threats of disintegration. Look at the letter that they wrote forgiving those who have left the party. And I said, are they serious? They left on their own volition, and then you had to write a letter to say, okay, if you have done X, Y, Z, then we are sacking you. And if you want to bring them on board, look at the way they wrote it. I've heard some of them telling them that we even left when you were in power, not when, now that you are in opposition, what do we need you for? And so it is important that the elderly in the party are brought on the fore to ensure that there is a genuine reorganization, genuine reconciliation. President Kufuor, who first initiated Ghana's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, okay, to heal us, I think he must be allowed to play. Recently, I heard that there are some decisions that were taken in the party and he was never consulted. I think he must be brought to the fore to help the party to rebuild itself so that we can have a credible opposition. Otherwise, they think they are doing something. They are risking disintegration, because remember that recently that they went to pick their nomination forms, I've heard one of the leading contenders saying that the very things that they did to skew the processes in favor of one of the aspirants, they are doing that. If these things are festering now, you should note that once they also know that they have the following, if it doesn't go their way, if they don't see the processes as level and fair, they would also want to break up. And that is what I mean by the party risking disintegration if they don't do things well.
Oh, you see that particular party as well that we're saying. Bento makes a point about the NPP not losing sleep over this Akwatia by-election. In his view, what is going to make or break the party ahead of 2028 is that crucial flag bearer race that they are on. But people, look at this. It tells a story, does it not? I mean, and for example, references in previous instances of by-elections as a result of the loss of a candidate. Because in all those by-elections, as I referenced since 1992, is it that been that the result of the resignation of a candidate or switching, a resignation of a member of parliament, switching to another party? 8 of them has been as a result of the death of a candidate. And they've all gone a particular direction. You see Sympathy playing a key role.
Yeah.
Things are changing.
Okay.
That's what this tells us.
Yeah.
That voters are beginning to look out for something more than just sympathy as a result of the death of a candidate.
Yeah.
How are things playing out for you from what you see here?
Well, it's good. It's good. Professor Jampo mentioned the rational choice theory, all right, and the voter psychology, etc. It's good that the data, so I would vote for the candidate nonetheless, right? So you see, under voting for my party, you see that 85%, all right, goes for Solomon Sumedu, right? So his people are saying that 85% they would vote just because they are voting for their party. That should still send us a bit of worry, but the good thing is that if you look at the development projects, you find 51% saying that they are voting for Bernard Bedu because of development project. When it comes to economy, 42% saying that they are voting for him because of the economy. You come to education, 49%. Galamsey, 47%. So, in a nutshell, what I'm saying is that yes, emotions matter, but rational choice, I mean, doing a proper rational analysis before you vote is more important, because at the end of the day, you're looking at building a country that would move us forward instead of just, in Chi, they say that, oh, party, the chami fruma. So that's the syndrome we are moving away from. That, oh, this party, I was born into it. No, use your head, because if we were to continue, I was born into this party, I was born into this party, we would not make much progress. And indeed, you see, what you're seeing here is a reflection of what happened in the 2024 elections. You see how JM got beat Baumia by over 1.6 million votes, right? You see how the votes in Ashanti dwindled. It tells you that people are becoming more rational in their choices, rather than just saying, oh no, it's an emotional thing. I'm attached to this party. So once I'm attached, once my family, me and my family, we are CPP. Me and my family, we are APC. No, we should be moving towards a rational analysis. Otherwise, how are we going to develop? Meaning that we leave objectivity and go for subjective things like our emotions. So for me, it's good. It's a reflection of what really happened in 2024. That Ghanaians are becoming more discerning. Yes, it's natural, because the more we vote, then the more we become savvy. It's just the natural train of stuff. The more you participate in an activity, just like going to school, as you increase the number of your years in school from class 1, class 2, class 3, you become more knowledgeable up until the end where you want to stop. So in the same way, we started in 92. We know how openly votes were being bought. Of course, we know till date votes are being bought. But what I can see is that the number of votes being bought, they appear to be dwindling. Okay? Yes, and the brazen manner in which votes were being bought in 92, 96, etc., it seems to have come down. So in one word, we are becoming more savvy, more objective, and so, yes, it's slow though, but it's progress. It's progress. So this is good. It's good.
And even though Mr. Bento makes the point about this not being necessarily, yes, there's a battle, but really there's, in his view, not much to fight about, because of the dynamics and how this is going to impact in Parliament's work or on Parliament's work. You have the security being a key concern going into this election. See, the police have deployed some 5,500 men on the ground to ensure that there is no, at least even if there's an occurrence of violence, they are able to bring the situation under control. The people 5,500 in this particular constituency, because it has a history in itself, Akwatia, going into 2008. And then what we are seeing now with the NPP also raising questions about the neutrality or of the persons in uniform who are going to be deployed there. We've seen this come up every time going into an election. That's why you have the Ghana Police Service doing this.
It's an interesting dynamic, but it reflects something that some of us have been saying. Whenever we end up in a by-election, by our own design, we create security risks for this country. Whenever we end up in a by-election, we ratchet up situations where lives are at risk. To a certain extent, even the cohesion of the state is at risk. Look at the history, you'll see it. Which is why some of us still maintain that by-elections are not worth what they give us.
By-elections
they are not worth it. Most of the time, the government will win anyway. This is one of the exceptions. But what you just mentioned is one of the reasons. You have a situation where thousands of policemen have descended on one community. And necessarily so. Because we fear violence, we fear all kinds of things that are going to happen. I am happy that we have the capability to impose security. But security can really not be imposed. Even with 5,000 policemen in that small space, anything can happen. However, let us give our police the benefit of the doubt. I've always said they are the best in the sub-region. They are very capable. All right? And we've had Asin North. And in the past, before Asin North, you had military and other people going in there. At least at that time, the police stood firm under Dampari and said, we can handle this. And they handled it with excellence. So I have no doubt that IG Yono and his team can handle it. But my worry is, why do we have to impose this thing on ourselves every time? So we should get to the point where, one, I hope we'd never have to have by-elections. And I keep telling people when they argue with me that Britain went through 5 prime ministers without an election. And in fact, all the places where we've learned this universal adult suffrage from, they don't practice it. All right?
By elections.
Not by elections per se, but it's not every time that you go and elect. In the case of Britain, for instance, the party will just appoint somebody and the person is prime minister. All right? In other places, different things happen. But we have insisted that we are going to stress ourselves every time. If you know the cost of this, and we've just been saying this is an inconsequential election. So must we design a thing like this that will cost us so much? God forbid somebody may die. You have 5,000 policemen living rough over there and go through all of this, for an inconsequential election. If I have my way, I'll say anytime there's, a situation like that, just let the winning party appoint. I don't think we'll lose much by that. I know there are people who disagree, but I believe there's a lot of merit to that argument.
Professor Namdoya disagrees.
As political scientist, I disagree too, but I believe in also rational thinking. Okay, if it doesn't make sense, I mean, we sometimes would have to move away from theory to practical thinking, and so
but I think it also one way or the other, activates the political life of the community. So,
to what extent and at what cost?
I agree. Sometimes you may win
lives lost,
but also other times when we have the by-elections and people come on board different political parties, it also helps to bring out the political life of the constituency. And also we can also mention about how goods can be distributed. I mean, if there's elections, by all means, there will be developmental projects, monies will go there. And all these things
actually, that is wrong.
Yes, but it happens.
Yes, but it's wrong. You see, that's the thing. The bigger picture, you have a situation where by-elections and roads are made overnight.
Indeed.
Millions are spent. They put asphalt on dirt. In 1 year, it's washed off. That is a waste of public funds driven by a by-election. If we didn't have a by-election, that money would have gone to better uses. It is not a positive, it's a negative.
The debate will continue.
Very well.
Yes, so it's good this time it's not happened. I have one of the texters saying that.
Because this election is a foregone conclusion. There's no fight in this election.
Oh, okay.
Look at what Musa is telling us.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree that Kate Jemfua would have been a more formidable, opponent and all this.
You agree with that point?
Oh, yes, I do.
That Kate Jemfua, if so considered.
Absolutely. She's already known. She's very entrenched in that place. She's been sold well, and her links are strong. All right. It's not a personal endorsement of her. I feel we must have a certain, But the truth is, this election does not look like one of those which is competitive on behalf of the NPP. So why should we stress too much about it? And many other. The single most important thing by-elections have given us is violence. and expense. Most of them, more than 90% of them, have gone to the incumbent party. So I'm saying if we tweak it a bit and we say, look, after 4 years, what is it? The party won. Okay, just let the party appoint. Britain went through 5 prime ministers by just appointment. We don't have the time. I could have gone through all those things, but I think it's one of the things we should look at. It's not worth the expense.
But then that defeats a certain process that we have seen. Yes, but Rosanna,
no, I mean there's sense in what lawyer is saying. I'm just having the opinion that political activism, political participation, political articulation, all matter when there's election, whether by or normal elections. And when there's an election, all these things come to play. So there may be consequences, negative ones, of course, but of course, we should also be mindful of the positive consequences. If we cancel by-elections, what do we stand to gain? You mentioned you have violence, but do we say that all by-elections are marked with violence?
Most.
Yeah, so but then at the end of the day, again, there will be results, and parties want to find out, even though we are in a position, what is our performance in this particular constituency? We may go and lose, or who knows, we may win. You can never tell. Elections are, you can never predict, even though I respect Musa Danquah's figures, something can happen just the day of elections, and then NPP can win.
Abusiafo enti ohwe Musa Danquah hawa usi breaki enema downwa. It tells you so run our experience. When we talk about experience, this man is an experienced person. You can attest to the fact that where you are a friend Musa Danquah. In fact, ankasa. This NPP for Asha see a ginidi. Okay, say bra obe odi sa post ni bi babontin. Bro di post ni bi babontin. Efa 2024 January elections one. MPP for catch when say or a lotto forecaster. Or no otutu lotto. Otutu lotto. The ebetom no eno yeden offer. I was for same way. In fact, it wasn't easy. Papa no go through a lot because now MPP for a no. But after 2025, a year after 2024 January elections, no, and MPP for near GDB, who is ampa, and Semna Sana Urani canon, no quarry. And a moon says, San Semna now canon, Sebi Busibiado, and you Busimka, Namum, a atia aiden, Akoso, and I say, a dear a month for a pay. Into Jabian and ne, or the post to be a babonti, or Chilima. Dr. Hedgebomia, LED MPP, flagship raising. I nyedenya kianiki or no any belly did the party MPP to general election 2028. And on the NPP from Bohunwa, and not the MPP from Bohunwa or Makoma not and on accept post in the good faith. But ODM 2028 in Druhono. Na we ensanye post no nka se NDC candidate no anase NDC for a lead abato no and they are going to win. There you will see the inner monkey in the MPP. Said the era Kevin. Let me quote Kevin. I quote Kevin. The inner monkeys in the MPP will start rising. The inner monkeys. Sorry. Now Simo Mobekan and Yenseketwa. Nina is our caucus to say MPs for a baby, but she say now all predicted their mom on dear. And my dean and on wedding or you see the kind of people we are dealing with. But nipa yenyomotikuruma. It is so sad. Abusian for Chelawajo conversation. We and Sema Musa Danquah of a global info analytics. Also, Chilmua 99% sure NDC Eberine Akwatia Sijino or Pomupio. Chelawajo comment session. Let's also subscribe to the channel. Hanum a number one authentic platform, Mega TV. Yakupon Koswa, Ishra, Bye bye.